It's Mr. Box Office, the main event, the professor of truth and entertainment, the ratings killer. And if you don't know, you need to get to know. And welcome. And welcome to Mr. Box Office TV. Back because let me be honest. This has been coming. I've been really on a period of where I've wanted to really have this show for quite a while now, since the Arsenal game, because the big question, there's been a big question in the ether of the Tottenham fan base, and it's mainly about set pieces that have not been very successful so far for Tottenham Hotspur so far. It also has been something of an issue that has affected Tottenham's position going for Champions League and going for top four. And it's been a major issue that it's also looked at what's happened in the past with what we've had in terms of coaching, in terms of set pieces, but also the fact that these goals have come and looked at specifically focus on our team as a whole, and that's it. And it really has affected us mainly, and that's it. So we want to get into it and break it down for everybody, and that's it. And it's something that unfortunately needs to be said, in my opinion, right now, because it's something that I can't leave, and that's it. And everyone kind of knows now that tomorrow's game, tomorrow wouldn't really make a blind bit. It doesn't really make a blind bit of difference to me right now. Tomorrow, I have to be honest. A Chelsea game, not really that much of an issue for me at the moment. We're playing for nothing. Both teams are playing for absolutely nothing. Yeah, you can say Chelsea are going for Europe because they have to get Europe. That may be a standard for them, and that's it. But for me at the moment, I'm not really that bothered. I'm not bothered whatsoever. I have to be honest. But also, there's another issue as well, which is why I say versus goals and assists, because I think that's a major issue as well that I don't think has been covered very much on Tottenham streams or whoever on rival streams as well. I don't think it's been covered at all. And I think that's been a major issue as well. And I think that has to be discussed. And we will discuss it on Mr. Box Office TV. Because, like I said, I've been really chomping at the bit to get this off my chest, and that's it. So keep yourself strapped in. And this will be a more calming effect because I've switched off this season, like everyone knows already, and that's it. So let's get straight into it. Because what we're going to talk about first is the set pieces. Because one thing we'll say is it is a problem. A major problem in the fact that it's causing us to lose a lot of goals from it as well. It's one of those things that you can't ignore because it will rule its ugly head in certain big games, which it did rule its ugly head in big game against Arsenal. It ruled its ugly head against Newcastle. And it ruled its head against Brighton when we got thrashed. Even though we brought it back, we still let in 4 goals, and that was it. So that was the main thing as well, and that was it. So the question is, I have to ask before we get into set pieces, which will be the first one that we're going to talk about. I think you get a bit of a picture of what we're going to be talking about. First thing will be set pieces and then goals and assists. The question I want to ask is, do you think set pieces or goals and assists will be on the undoing of Ange Postecoglou and Angeball? You'll find out later on where this is going, and that's it. So keep, like I said, keep like I described, keep yourselves strapped in and keep watching, because you'll get an idea why I'm coming to this, and what conclusion I come to this, and that's it. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to everybody for watching. I know it's very late right now, and you might have been watching a lot of Spurs content right now. So I do appreciate everyone that's watching right now. But I want to get into the first one, which is set pieces. Set pieces because it's the big topic of Tottenham streams right now. Even though Tottenham Hotspur love think that our defence is one of the strongest part of our team, when you have Van der Ven, Romero, and then you have the two fullbacks of who Poro, who's playing at the moment, but he was injured before, and then Doji's out for the season. You looked at that back four and also adding Vicario. He's that. This is a back five that has been our strongest point of our team right now. But ultimately, the weakness of this team at the moment is the set pieces that have affected us mainly since that Manchester City game in the FA Cup, and that was it. There was little sprinkles of it that we saw in the first 10 games, even though we were very, very good. But there was little sprinkles of it when we were seeing us being affected in certain games, like against Chelsea, Wolves, and other games as well. But because we were doing so well in the attack, there wasn't that much focus on it, and that was it. But since that Man City game, we've let in a total of 7 goals from set pieces. And that's been one of the fourth worst of the Premier League since January. I mean, overall, and I do thank you to one person in the chat, has Spurs, big up to you. Big up to you. We've overall conceded 16 goals from set pieces. And the thing that's concerning at the moment, is that we're one of the worst, but the people that are the worst out of them are the ones that are fighting relegation. Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United. I think there's Luton as well. It's quite concerning in that sense. And these things have been crucial in the fact that it's decided games in crucial games. And it's so highlighted very well against Arsenal, with Arsenal scoring 2 set pieces that really did determine the game, and that was it. Because if Tottenham Hotspur didn't let in one of those goals, it would have been a 2-2 draw, and that was it. It could have been a more tighter game. We wouldn't need to have gone for, in the last half, the last 10, 15 minutes trying to create an equaliser, and that was it. So the third goal was crucial. And the third goal that was crucial was Havertz's goal. And that was from a set piece, from a corner, which was badly defended by our team. And he was left free just to head the ball back in the back of the net. There have been question marks on why this is happening. There have been question marks on Ange Postecoglou. There's been also question marks on certain players, especially the leaders of our team. We don't need to talk about them too much because we know who our leaders are, that supposedly are leaders. Huminson, Maddison, and Romero. And even though Romero has had lots of plaudits for the game against Arsenal, it still shows that there is a lack of leadership and maybe even lack of communication in our team. Even though I praise the likes of Vicario, who shows that he's got that leadership in him, that voice in him to say and tell players to get back into their positions, it still has not affect. It still has a major effect, and his weakness as coming from corners has been highlighted very well as well. And that's why opposition now are pressuring us at corners and pressuring him at corners as well, trying to distract him while the ball's going over the top. And it was quite highlighted with Ben White, distracting him for one of the goals as well. What I will say is, and what my opinion is at the moment, I think these set pieces, yes, are a crucial part of the game. And I think that we do have to sort it out, and that's it. It's something that will affect us later on and will definitely affect us next season. And especially if we're going for cups or trophies next season, when Tottenham's ambition and what a lot of fans have said, they said that mainly they would want us to have a good cup run. Now, cup runs come with luck, but also they come games where it's a tight game. They're tight games, and a set piece might be very crucial in that tight game, and that's it. So Tottenham Hotspur may have to address that issue, but it may be not just the fact that they may need to address the issue coaching wise. It may be the issue that they need to sort out the players instead, because mainly sometimes you might need, sometimes you do need a coach to teach you what to do. And maybe the zonal marking may be not working. Maybe it's man marking that may be better for our players to play, and that's it. But at the same time, you're sitting there thinking, well, some of these players are not stupid. Some of these are well versed into area defending. Van der Ven was looked as the second coming, but it was highlighted before we bought him. His weakness was in the air, so it's not really it's not really a surprise that since he's been in the team, we've not been very good at set pieces because he's been very weak in the air. And that was something that I heard mostly on streams, mainly from streams, different streams, saying when we're linked with Van der Ven that he's very weak. His weakness is in the air, and that's it. Obviously, he's covered himself well when he's come back, defended back, and saved us in certain areas, certain games when a player's going forward, the opposition is going forward, and they're getting through, and he's the last man to just mop it up, and that's it. And that's the main thing we see with him, and that's it. But ultimately, what I'm saying is, when you've got the defence that we've got, the midfield is not doing as well, is included in this, as well as the strikers. As a team, we do not work well dealing with these set pieces. And there's multiple issues for that. Number one, leadership. Why is it your goalkeeper, who's only been here 5 minutes, that's more of a leader, even though he's a weakness at corners, why is he telling everyone what to do? Why is he not organised? Why is he organising why is he having to organise things when he's the one that's new? Why is it not on someone like Romero, who's supposedly a leader? Where's Son in all of this? Setting the example. When he knows it's very crucial. He's been at Tottenham for so long now, and why is Son not doing it? Why is he not taking the initiative to do that? I mean, everyone knows how I feel about Postecoglou. You know that I don't like him. You know that I was sceptical of him. But there's a lot of blame towards Postecoglou, not putting in the coaches to teach them. But it's not a lot of responsibility on the players, that he's given responsibility to the players to organise this as much as he can. Yes, maybe people don't rate Mason as a coach who's dealing with the set pieces. Maybe not a lot of people rate Jedinak as a coach as well. Maybe they need a specialist. Maybe it's better to have a specialist player, but coach on this. But I do think that is making a lot of excuses for these players. Because if they're that good, if they're well versed, why are they not capable of organizing themselves in a situation of taking set pieces? Some of these players were under Conte, under Cellini, under Giovanni Vio. So with some of the methods that they learn under Giovanni Vio, why can they not use that in these scenarios? Romero was there. Yes, Van der Ven wasn't there. Porro was there for a little bit. Bentancur was there. Kulusevski was there. Son was there. Richarlison was there. But we still make excuses that they haven't got the quality to do it, and that's it. I think this, for me at the moment, it's quite clear for me at the moment. It's a leadership issue. I think you've got Vicario at the moment that is dealing with a lot of things, that he's trying to get used to things. He's done very well this season. Admittedly, he's done very well this season. It was one of his weaknesses because he hasn't been in a very physical league like the Premier League before, and he will have to grow with this, and that's one of his weaknesses. But he's not helped with his defenders. The defenders are not being fierce enough and not combating the opposition's tactics on Vicario, and that's it. And yes, you can point at the manager, not for pointing it out, and the coaching staff for doing that. Yes, that's a fair argument. But at the same time, you've got to look at the players, and that's it. I think the players are getting away with it massively. Absolutely massively. And it's just like when you go to work, it's like, well, you've got a boss and you're given your duties, and that's it. And it's clearly explained to you what to do. You're given the training, you're given the strategy and what they want from you and what they expect from you in certain times of the day, and you're left to your devices because you explain what to do. You give them the training, and let's be honest here, we were given training. They were given training for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of training with Ange Postecoglou, and they couldn't fulfill the instructions that were given. So for me, at the moment, I think this whole thing comes down to one thing for me. And whatever you say, whatever you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm just saying what I'm saying is my opinion. I think the players are not being good enough. They're not taking the instruction. They're not being hard enough in each other. There's a leadership problem. Why is it that Vicario is the only one in the box trying to instruct everyone? Why is it no one else is doing it? Where are the captains, Romero, Maddison, and Son? Where are they in this scenario? Where are they taking charge, taking ownership? Why is it on the goalkeeper, who, yeah, fair enough, he's doing he's doing what he can. That's why I say he's more a leader than Son and Maddison for me at the moment, because he says more, he shouts more. Yeah, fair enough. Someone in the chat, Arsenal Digo, says that yes, Vicario literally was pushing Van der Ven away. Yes, he was. I was there myself. Yes, he shows it. But with his deficiencies, he needs help. He needs assistance. And the captains should be doing it. In my opinion, I know Romero gets a lot of plaudits for that game, but also I think he's going for himself. I think he's playing for himself a lot of the time because sometimes he wants to go for himself. I think he's got that ambition in the future to move on somewhere. So he's just going playing for himself, and that's it. He's not doing it for the team. I think he's doing it for his own agenda, and that's it. That's quite a controversial thing to say, maybe, because a lot of people love Romero. But on the other hand, he has got that sort of thing about him where he will go for himself. He's shown it he's shown it under Conte because he didn't get on with Conte, and he has got that tendency. And that's it for me. Yeah, fair enough. He did play well. We'll get into that, why I think he played well, because I think a lot of people have covered that as well. And that's it. But I think the issues that we're having with the set pieces, yes, will be an issue in the future if we're not dealing with it. Yes. In major moments in terms of trophies, yes. But my issue at the moment is that it's just the leadership issue, as well as the fact that they're not clear on what they're doing in terms of what they've been trained and and I don't think they're working well as a team to deal with the situation. Now there are situations, there are ways of doing this, and I think maybe he might have to employ somebody to deal with this if it becomes a major issue, or somehow around this, they're going to have to be better communicators together and be able to deal with different scenarios, because this will be a situation where Tottenham Hotspur will have opposition targeting this on a regular basis. And with an attack that Tottenham Hotspur have got that is not firing at the moment, those are bad combinations that you can have affect us and affect our position majorly in the future, and affect Ange in the future as well. It's just an interesting conversation. And that's it for me. I think it's quite something that a lot of people have got issues with, getting angry with it as well. And it's a major issue that we're gonna have to deal with, and that's it in the future. I think there are other issues as well that I think need to be addressed, and I think are more important in terms of moving us forward. And it's not. I think it's those issues are more important because we are not a defensive team. We're supposed to be an attacking team, which kind of gives you an idea where I'm going with this in my next part of my video, next part of the show, and that's it. But it's just the fact that we're not. The concern for me mainly is the fact that we've got no leaders that are really pushing it for me, and I don't think Romero has shown himself well in these sort of scenarios. For Van der Ven, the only one that really looks like it, but he's struggling at the moment because he's struggling to understand how to. He's come with the physicality and they're targeting him so much is Vicario, and that's it. In a mission right now, to be honest, I think we're missing someone like Harry Kane, because Harry Kane was very good at being defensive at set pieces. I think that was one of those things. I also would say Moira was very good as well at defending set pieces as well. Or maybe I was wrong, but maybe that is the case as well. So certain players that were very good at being set pieces, and that's it. But it is a major concern. I think we're better last season, and we all know how our defence last season was. Dyer, Langley, Emerson Royale. I think Davis sometimes as well was included in that as well. So really, when you look at it, that was quite a bad. Well, you know what my thoughts were on that defense. It was bang average, literally bang average. But you know, we still were quite good in terms of defensive. Yes, we were boring to watch, but it was to a system, and we were better. And also attacking wise, we're very good as well because of the specific specialist set piece coach, and that was it. So that was interesting, very interesting in that sense, and that was it for me. So it's just interesting to see that, and it's been a major issue. I think it's been highlighted too much, in my opinion, because for me, we are not should be not focused on being defensive. But I think if we were better in attack, which is what I'm going to be leading to in the next part of the show, because this is set pieces versus goals and assists, I think it shows for me that if we were better in attack, we wouldn't be so focused on the defense at the moment. And when I mean better in attack, which is really kind of segue into my next section of the video, next section, it would be the fact that we're not clinical enough. We're not accurate enough in the final third. And that, for me, was a major issue in the big games, especially against Arsenal, when you saw how many shots we taken and how many shots were not accurate enough. I was told, and I heard on a few shows just tonight, that our XG was very, very good. Well, let's be honest here. Mr. Box Office doesn't do XG. Mr. Box Office doesn't do that. It's like a salesman, he's expected to make a lot of sales. But if he doesn't make the sales, you're still getting sacked. Because a salesman without his sales is nothing. You might have a great percentage chance of winning the lottery, but if you don't win the lottery, what was the point in that? That's the point. It's absolutely pointless. Absolutely pointless. That's the thing. So why are we talking about XG? Saying what we're great at XG. Remember who else was good at XG? Brighton. Look where they are right now. Look at what they're saying about their manager right now. The hot property, De Zerbi. Yeah, look what happened there. Didn't work out too well, didn't it? That's the point. It's just an absolute ridiculous thing for me. But just before I go and move on to goals and assists, because this is going to be a quick show because it's very late at night, and I appreciate that people are watching it tonight as well. Big up to Brian, by the way, and big up to Tottenham Away. Big up to everyone in the chat. Just want to say some hellos to people because I've got to appreciate that people are watching and said hello, and that's it. Big up to you, John Song, Saigon. Big up to you. Big up to you, Hotspurs. Big up to you, Raymond Son. Big up to you, Brian. Big up to you, mate. Big up to you. Big up to you, Tommy G. Big up to you for the support. Big up to you, Wayne Francis. Big up to you, Hasper. Big up to you, Ben Salah Youssef. Big up to you, Arsenal De Groot. Big up to you. Big up to you, Werner. Big up to you. Big up to you, Will France. Big up to you, Tottenham Away. Big up to you, Still. Big up to you, Toxic Headshot. Big up to you. Big up to you, Scott M. Big up to you. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to you. Keep liking and subscribing. Please help me get because we're on the road to 2,000 subscribers now. Big up to you, everyone in the chat. And thank you for your support. Big up to you all. Big up to you. But yeah, getting into it. let me just get into it right now. Big up to you. But yeah, just one thing I will say, and it was mentioned by one of the players as well, which kind of summed it up perfectly. I think the maturity of our players is not very good as well. And maybe that's because we've got a young squad. Maybe excuses, but the maturity of our squad. Are we mature enough to take on responsibility in certain times? Well, by this season alone, no, we haven't. We haven't taken responsibility well at all. We haven't got that maturity, no. We use a lot of endeavour. We've got a lot of endeavour in our team. We work really hard, and it's proven with the amount of presses we do, in the final third, the amount of work that we do, and the amount of runs, energy that we use up. Yes, we do that, and that's what Ange wants, from what I understand as well. But the maturity of a team in the major moments has really shown that we lack that maturity. And I think that's really highlighted by the fact that we do really badly in set pieces as well. Because when the going is good, it's all okay. Son's a great captain. Romero's the best centre-back in the Premier League, or the world, compared to some Tottenham fans. He's better than Saliba, according to some Tottenham fans. Better than Van Dijk. Van Dijk's looking at his left. Well, can't even touch Romero, from what I heard from Tottenham fans. We've got the best left back in the world with Udogie. The most improved player in Poro. Van der Ven, the up-and-comer. A great midfield. The midfield, we've got a great midfield. Basuma's playing so well. So well, in fact, that we haven't seen him last how many months. But anyway, moving on. We also see Maddison, who's one of the best number 10s in the Premier League. Even though Odegaard makes him look average. Let's be honest, because Odegaard looks better than him. Even though there's a good argument that Odegaard looks good because of the players that he plays with him. There's a good argument there, but let's be honest here, he's been very good this season. And Maddison, since his injury, hasn't been great. So, and then you look at the strikers that, well, let's be honest here, have flattered to deceive. And even Son at the moment hasn't been great. He has his quiet games. They say that now he's just specifically good to play on the left. But again, we'll get into that in the later on. So the maturity of the team has kind of gone down. I think one team member that I think we might have lost, might have missed, is Perisic. I think we definitely missed him in attack, because when we were really on top, who was we subbing on most of the time, and who saved the day most of the time? It was Perisic, wasn't it? Which is surprising, because you would have thought that he would have won and left before, but he was actually happy to stay at Tottenham. Again, going back on the leadership thing, especially with a guy like Perisic, who's won a lot wherever he's gone. I think we lost a lot in that. Yes, we got Romero, who's a World Cup winner. But when you look through that team, yes, you got Bentancur, but Bentancur has been hot and cold. Yes, he's got the right mentality. And like I said, he's growing on me. And I mean, just growing on me at the moment, because he has got a different mentality. But we haven't got anybody who's got winning mentality at the moment than those players I've just mentioned. And that's it. And those sort of things are very, very important. Sometimes you need a bit of a ruffle in the feathers, like a Roy Keane, just to say it how it is. Now, I can see that in Vicario. I can definitely see that in Bentancur. But other than that, have we got the players to really ruffle feathers in a good way to G those players up, remotivate them to make sure that they keep doing the same things that they should be doing, and that's it. And the answer is quite easy. No, that's the answer. Only 3 players I've just mentioned, and that's it. All the others seem to just be happy to just take part, and that's it. And that may be also a reasoning for the fact that we're doing really badly at set pieces as well. It's a major issue, which will be a major issue for us winning trophies. This is the thing. It will be a major issue for us to get to better positions in the league. And if Angie's wanting to compete for the title next season, it will be a major issue as well. Simple as that. But there is another issue with the Tottenham team that I think is going to be even more crucial for the fact, and it also leads to the fact that set pieces have been so focused very heavily on, and that's it. And that's goals and assists. The reason why I bring this up, because everyone says that we played very well against Arsenal. Everyone says that we had more possession. I've even heard tonight that they've had great XG, and that's it, and everything else, and that's it. But they don't really home in the issue that at the end of the day, Tottenham Hotspur didn't not take their chances. In the final third, we were awful. While I was there at the stadium, I had no confidence. And the reason why people said that we're unlucky, we should have got penalties. Yeah, cool. You can start saying that. You can make that argument all day long. But where were you? Where were those players when we needed to score goals? And in major moments, we didn't score our chances. We had enough chances to really hurt Arsenal. And Arsenal played us very well. They knew that we're going to have more possession of the ball. They let us have the ball, possession of the ball. And they're taking that risk because they knew they had a good, strong defence. But they knew that our players, other than Son, are not clinical. When you compare Tottenham to Arsenal, there are goals everywhere in the team. Havertz, as a striker, shows how bang average, aka below average, Emil Heskey, aka Richarlison, is. I watched him since he came on. You look at the difference between Havertz and you look at the difference with Richarlison. Havertz is moving about. He's holding up the ball. He's going into different areas. He's making himself busy. He's causing problems to the defenders, making them think. Richarlison, he stands there like a plank. Literally stands there like a plank, running with the play, and that's it. Son is not a striker on his own. He needs a player around him to connect with. And that player, unfortunately, yes, I called him a loser, but the loser tag was because he needs to win trophies. So he's gone to Bayern Munich. And that's Harry Kane. He had a connection with Harry Kane. They had that telepathic thing. And unfortunately, he's got nothing to work with. Johnson can't work with him. Werner certainly can't work with him. And Sulezeski, like I said, yes, he works hard. He's got so much endeavour, but he's just not good enough. He's not good enough. And he's just not effective enough to affect the play. And this has been a major issue. And I think this was the major issue on Sunday. Because when attacks broken down, Arsenal went straight on the attack. And the greatest example was Saka's goal. We lose the ball. It was supposedly a penalty on Kulu. The ball goes right over the top. Who made that ball over the top? Oh, yeah, Havertz. Would you say that from Richarlison? No. You might see it from Son because he's got that quality. But you wouldn't see it from Richarlison. You wouldn't see that from Werner. You certainly wouldn't see it from Johnson. Brendan Johnson. So that ball over the top to Saka, and Saka has all the space in the world to just go through, and that's it. And that just sums up Tottenham. He had so much space to score, but if Tottenham Hotspur were much more clinical in front of goal and protected the ball better in crucial areas, that goal doesn't happen. And this is the issue. This has been a major issue for me for the last couple of games. There is a pattern going. In moments, we have those spells. We did it against Aston Villa when we scored 4 goals. So we have that momentum. We need to have that momentum to score goals. But if we don't have that momentum, these players are very, very nice. They haven't got that ruthless side about them. They haven't got that arrogance. They haven't got that swag to just shrug their shoulder and just say, you know what, I'm going to bang it in or just cross it in next time. One thing I will say, Perisic did have that swag. And one thing I will say as well, which I've mentioned it on Tottenham Away, big up to Tottenham Away, but I've mentioned it when I was at the game. Our defenders look better than our strikers, and that is very, very concerning at the moment. I've got more confidence in our defenders scoring than our strikers. Van der Ven had his first goal a couple of weeks ago. He was on form. He was literally going to score another goal, but he was chalked off for offside. So what I mean is that they look much better. They look much better than our strikers actually at the moment. I even seen somebody in the chat talk about Lo Celso. Now, for me, Lo Celso, the thing that concerns me is that he's not getting any game time, which leads me to think. And now we're hearing that he's going to get a new contract. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, if he's getting a new contract, what the hell we're going to be doing in the summer, I do not know. Because he's not getting any game time. So why is he getting a new contract in the first place? Again, if he's just a backup, that's not good enough. That is just not good enough whatsoever. And it's concerning. It's just as concerning as Tottenham going for Martial, which was a story a couple of weeks ago, and that's it. But just to lead on what I'm trying to say here is that the amount of shots that we had, the most of possession that we had, we didn't use any of that ball. And the thing is, though, it was concerning the fact that we had so much. When we got it to 3-2, what did we do? Absolutely nothing. It was very panicky. There was no calmness. There's no fluency. There was no trying to figure out a way of trying to inventive ways to get around the Arsenal strong defense. There was nothing there, and I had no confidence in Tottenham playing in Tottenham getting the third goal. Because let's be honest here, the only reason why we got those goals The first goal and the second goal. The first goal was a mistake from Raya, and the second goal was a penalty because Rice just stupidly fouled Davis, and that's it. Other than that, were we going to do anything else? No. That is the issue. That's the point. And it's something that I think was crucial in the game. Because let's be honest here. Yes, I agree. Romero was pretty damn good in that game in terms of, but I think he was playing for himself in that game, in that sense as well. Because you can look at it the other way as well. In some way, he was leading by example. But also, I think he was trying to prove a point as well by going playing for himself as well. So you can look at it both ways. That's the thing for me. I think for me, it's just it works both ways with him. But in saying that, he was just everywhere in the pitch, and for me, he looked a bit. He looked more. Felt more confident in him scoring goals. I think he was very unlucky with the header that came off the bar. I think he was very unlucky with the header that went wide as well. But he was the most dangerous out of all of the players that we had that were causing Arsenal problems, and that was it for me. And that was the major thing for me, and that was major for me, massive for me, honestly massive. Also, what I would say is my issue as well was when we were getting to our final third, we just didn't look like we're going to hurt them at all. It's just Arsenal knew what to do. They'd be defensive and then play on the counter, and that was it. And I think they were that confident that Tottenham Hotspur weren't going to score because they weren't too, at the end of the day, Son's not very good up front on his own. And then you've got the other two, which are not very good as well, Werner and Johnson. Kulusevski's just flattered to deceive, and that's it for me. Yes, he worked hard, but ultimately, and especially with his stats, this is the thing, his stats make him so overrated. That's the thing for me. But at the end of the day, he didn't hurt Arsenal. He's shown a lot of endeavour, a lot of hard work, but didn't hurt Arsenal. And Kulusevski's going to always have that problem. Saw a lot of hard work from Bentancur. I don't understand also the issue with the fact that Basuma and Sarr weren't playing because they've not been playing well. So I think Ange had a right to put Højbjerg and Bentancur in the team. Now, listen, you know what my thoughts on Bentancur, on the Højbjerg is. Bang average. But with Basuma not playing very well at the moment, Sarr has been okay. Yes, he has been good in certain games, yes, and he's shown it. He's shown the quality he's got, but he has to be better. But ultimately, it hasn't been good enough, and that's it. And that's the thing. Clinically, we've not been great, and that's what's hurting us massively. And I think I've said this so many times. I should have warned everybody that there's going to be a lot of me being repetitive. And that's it for me. I know there's somebody in the chat, Danny D, big up to Danny D, has just asked a question about Ivan Toney. Now, for me, at the moment, no, I wouldn't take him, no. Because I don't think he's good enough for us at the moment. I don't think he's ultimately, I don't know if he's going to be the answer. I would say at the moment, though, that we do need somebody that is a bit naughty, that would just, he's got a bit of swag. And he has got the swag, but I don't know if he's the right sort of profile that we should get. I think we need somebody that can play all through the front line, and that's it for me. But yeah, I do agree. He's got arrogance. He definitely has got arrogance, in my opinion. Definitely he has. Whether that will fit well with what we got in terms of the characters, but we need somebody that's a bit naughty. We need some attitude in our team, definitely. that can, ruffle a few feathers, but also in a good way. And that's it. And maybe Tony is that guy. That's the main thing at the moment. I mean, people can remember the Man United team that won the treble, and remember the four strikers that they had: Sheringham, Dwight York, Andy Cole, and Solskjaer. Most of them didn't get on with each other. I know there was a fact that Andy Cole and the likes of Andy Cole and and Sheringham didn't get on with each other. It was quite well publicised as well that he didn't get on with them as well. But but there's still won trophies because your enemy is your best friend in certain quarters, definitely. Because your enemy will tell you what you don't want to hear. But also you want to compete with that enemy as well, and maybe that helps in terms of results, and that's it for me. But it's one of those things. Big up to Drury in the chat. Big up to Danny D. Big up to Adam Phillips, who have just joined. Big up to you all. Big up to you. Thank you for all watching, and that's it. Please like and subscribe, and that's it. But but for me, the attack is a concern for me. That's the thing for me. The possession shows you that we've got all this possession, but like I said, it's can you have all the possession in the world, but if you're not using it well or not progressing the ball better, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's it. You can have all the possession in the world, but it's pointless if you're not using it and not doing anything. And that's it for me. But yeah, I think that's been the major issue. And when we lose the ball, we're putting ourselves vulnerable at the defense as well, and that's what leads to free kicks and set pieces, and that's when we're losing goals from assists from set pieces. So the main thing is for me, the attack is affecting us majorly because we're not using the ball, we're not being clinical. And if those moments that we were clinical enough in certain games, if we were clinical in those games, even the Newcastle game when Werner had those chances, if he was more clinical in those moments, different game completely. Which goes on to the fact that if we're more clinical, we need more quality than quantity. That's what I'm trying to say, which I said in my last video. If you watched it last video, I said quality over quantity. Now, whatever I say here, saying quality over quantity, it doesn't change my fact about what I feel about the manager. No. I still think what I think before, he still needs to go for a bad run and see whether this ball will stick with him through those bad times when the fans are against him. I need to see that. I stick by that notion. But he definitely needs quality in those areas. But I've got players that have got swag, have got the attitude, and got that arrogance that they don't need to lose their confidence if they're going through a bad run. It's so crucial because, unfortunately for Tottenham, Arsenal have got it. They have got it, unfortunately. Maybe not with Martinelli, no. Martinelli, no. They might not have it with Martinelli at the moment because Martinelli's not playing well at the moment. No. But we certainly have they certainly have it with certain players, definitely. I'm trying to think of the Arsenal team at the moment. It's just going. This is why it's very late, guys. It's very, very late in the UK at the moment. So you got to have to mind me because unfortunately I do have those lapses because it's very late. But this is how it is. This is how it is right now. Because I just completely forgot the player that I was referring to. And that player was, and I can't remember it. I can't remember it now at the top of my head now. It's interesting because you're looking at players and you're just thinking, oh, I remember that player. I remember that player. I remember that player. But I just can't remember the player now. I cannot remember the player. Yes, it's Trossard. Trossard, that's it. Trossard, who's playing really well at the moment. Yep, thank you, Adam Phillips. But big up to you. Yeah, definitely. I think for me, at the moment, Trossard um, shows you what quality is all about. Quality is all about big. Martinelli's not playing well. Look who's playing more game time, which is why I said what I've been saying. We need players to compete. There's no point in having players that are just going to be backups. I'm not saying that you can't have, you're not going to have the best players. You're not going to have world class players, but you need players that are actually going to want to compete with that player that to take their spot. And that's it. If you've got somebody who's happy to be on the bench and just wait for their opportunity, they're not good enough. You don't want that attitude. And that's been the problem at Tottenham. Simple as that. You need players that want to compete. One of the reasons why I call Emerson Royale bang average. It's quite obvious at the moment, when you see Lo Celso at the moment, why is he not getting into the team? So is he really keen? Is he really keen to fight for his place? On evidence, no, because he's not getting into the team. Madison's playing rubbish. He's still getting into the team. So what does that say to you? What does that say to you? Says a lot there, doesn't it, really, for me? And I just think for me, it's just, our forwards are not doing enough. The midfielders not scoring enough goals as well, not contributing, and not clinical enough as well. You can't really rely on Højbjerg to score you a goal. Sarr needs to do more. He is doing better, but he needs to lift up those assists, and that's it. And it's just, it's ultimately we're not doing enough. I think the wing backs are not doing enough as well because they're not scoring goals as well. When they're becoming inverted, they're not, and getting into the box, they're not being more clinical and being ruthless and taking shots. We're not taking shots outside the box as well. That's the reason why XG is so high, because we're trying to score the perfect goal. And that's it. Big up three-legged dog. Big up big dog in the chat. Yeah, I did watch a little bit of the press conference. Yes, and he was very, adamant, and he's been adamant throughout, saying that he's focusing on the system and focusing on us, the way that we play, and that's it. And to be fair, and you know what I feel about Ange. I'm not there with him. You know what I feel about Ange. Maybe not because of his fault, but you know what I feel about Ange. I'm not there with him. He's been consistent. He has been consistent with that message. So I can't have a go at him from the very get-go. He's told us this. And that's it for me. There's nothing really more to say on it, really. I just think at the moment we are too focused on trying to score the perfect goal. Not a lot of players are taking responsibility. We are missing certain player like a Perisic. Perisic was very effective early part of the season. Ironically, when he left, when he was injured, he came off injured and got that injury. That's when we started to see a bit of weakness in our attack, and he was crucial in certain games in the first 10 games. And yeah, he's shown that he's good at crossing the ball. Richarlison had that benefit as well because he had that connection with him because he got in the right areas for him to head the ball in the back of the net because Richarlison's very renowned for being a header guy who can head the ball in the back of the net and that's it. So I do think we did miss him. I think we need someone similar to him to, cross it in. There have been calls for Poro to be more higher up the pitch, and that's it. But whether that would ever happen, I don't think that would happen because he's got a major role in terms of being inverted. whether this inverted role, I think there's a lot of players that need to be more willing to be able to unleash, take ownership, and the thing is though, to express themselves, take risks. And I don't think most of them take risks. I think there's lots of passing around the box. There's times when we're just passing it around the box and just passing it, and no one really wants to just shrug the shoulder and just go at them and just ask questions of that defense, and that's it. But it's a major issue, and I think that's what's leading to our set pieces question mark as well. Because when we lose the ball, we get punished. We're getting punished by the major teams, the big teams, when we lose the ball. Not so much the lower, the teams that are low, who are not very good, that are fighting relegation, that are one of those teams that that we should be beating. They let us off because they haven't got that major player to score that goal to punish us when we lose the ball. But against the big teams, we're not getting away with it. And that's where we are struggling. And that's it for me. And that's it. And I don't think there's any more to say on it because it's been such a major issue. And I think for me, these mistakes will always come to haunt us in the future, I think, for me. And I can't really, it's not really, I don't really know what else to say. And I think this is a major issue for Ange as well, because as he's made it clear, we're an attacking team. And if this doesn't get sorted, this could be costly in terms of Ange being the long-term manager of Tottenham Hotspur. And that's the conclusion I'm coming to right now. The downfall of the team in the attack, being found out and not having a way of enhancing the way to play to try and get to be more effective up front, and the quality that we've got up front as well, and in midfield, and players that are going to be able to compete as well, will affect us massively, and will affect Ange's tenure, and I think that will put pressure on him next season. With the set pieces, though, I think will affect us to get cups in major moments or leagues, and that's it. So when I talk about set pieces and versus the goals and assists, one set pieces has the effect of whether we're going to win trophies or not, or whether we're going to go compete for the title or compete for something major. But one will reflect either good or bad on Ange's philosophy, and whether he will survive at Tottenham, whether he walks because he's fed up because he's not able to fulfill his philosophy, or whether they pull the trigger and get rid of him. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to say right now. This is the story, what I'm saying. Are we able to enhance this philosophy to make this attacking style and better, to make our team a success and make Ange's philosophy a success, which ultimately will keep him here for a long time? Or are we able to fix the problems in terms of defense, and that could ultimately be a help to us winning trophies? But also, what I will also say as well is that if we are better in attack as well, would we have the problems that we're having in defence as well? Because we'll be able to keep the ball better, which ironically is what Man City are good at as well. Keeping the ball, and then when the moment is there, they strike. They strike hard. And they do it so good later part of the season, and that's it. And that's why they win leagues and championships. It's a question mark for Tottenham. And that's it. It's a question mark for everyone, and that's it. So hopefully you do understand what I'm trying to say right now. I understand it's very late at the moment. And it's kind of a story time with Mr. Box Office. But you'll get more of this. It's something that I've really wanted to get off my chest a lot. But, you know, sometimes it's your life gets in the way, and that's it. Well, Alex's life gets in the way, and that's it. And we'll wait and see where this goes next season, because we all know I've switched off this season, and that's it. But I will be wrapping up soon. I just want to see whether there's any questions in the chat. I think there was one or two couple of questions. I think that was Arts in the chat. I think there was a few ones that I think I need to answer. But big up to everybody in the chat that are watching right now. Big up to everybody that is watching. If I mention your name, thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe and share this out. On the road to 2,000 subscribers now. And yeah, keeping it going, keeping it rolling like they always do every single time. Every single time. If everybody's asking me about the Chelsea game, like I said, I'm not really that bothered. I'm not really going to do a preview on the game. Really, let's be honest with you, that has got no meaning to me whatsoever. Everyone knows what I feel about Champions League as well. It's just, it's not really a big deal for me, and that's it for me. Yeah, just a question here. We already have 70% of possession in the games, still concede loads of loads. How much possession do we need not to concede? Like 90%? Well, to be honest with you, Rob, big up for your question. For me, I don't think it really matters how much possession we have. I think it's just a case that we got to use the possession well and clinically, because sometimes it's just possession for just possession's sake, and that's it. We're passing it round, and no one's willing to take a risk. And the thing is, though, Ange's kind of said that he wanted to see. He's given the players a chance to unleash, express themselves within the framework of the system, and they're not doing it. Clearly, not doing it, because they're not taking risks. Certain players are not doing their job properly, and not enhancing their, not trying to improve. And like Richarlison, for instance, who's up front, is useless. Son at the moment is not playing well. Son's not playing well at the moment, and yeah, the midfield's not there at the moment as well, and the defense obviously has its question marks as well, especially playing this high line. And obviously the goalkeeper has his question marks at set pieces as well, his weaknesses, and that's it. So it's just, for me, it's not. The question is at the moment. The question is for me at the moment is that we got to be more clinical. I think this will affect Ange's tenure more than the set pieces for me, because if we were more better on the ball, not losing it in crucial areas, we wouldn't get into having counter attacks against us. We also wouldn't lose free kicks in crucial areas as well. So I think it's the main thing looking at it is that if we were more clinical up front, I think that issue with set pieces wouldn't come up too much. I think, yes, you do have to look at it further down the line, but ultimately for an attacking team, you should be trying to nail that part of the game and then sort out the set pieces, because what you don't want to do is go against what you really believe in playing. And I think that's what Postecoglou was trying to say, what he was trying to say in his press conferences, and that's it. Again, I don't like the guy, and I'm hearing what he's saying, and he says mainly what I said, and that's it. So, again, I'm not a Postecoglou fan. I don't care about him at the moment, but I see what he's talking about, and I have to be fair because he said it in June, and that's it. How do you make it better and successful? Is it possible to? Well, yeah, I think that's what I explained earlier. I think that's what they can do is improve their possession of the ball and taking risks with the ball as well in certain areas where they're more favourable, and that's it. You know, be able to try and run with the ball better as well. Trying to find good triangles, and that's it. I just think at the moment we're just very nice and easy to play. You know, we're just being too light with it. We're not doing it intensely. I think we're not, you know, we're just not expressing ourselves more for me, and that's it for me. So yeah, that's it for me. I mean, that's what I would say anyway. But big up to everybody in the chat. We're gonna finish the stream. We're gonna finish the show soon. And big up to everybody that's watching. Thank you for all watching. There's going to be more of this. Me doing streams, more talking about Tottenham. Also some videos as well. Watch out for that as well. But as we close the show, big up to everybody. Big up to Jay Servar. Big up to him. Big up to Rob for your questions. Big up to Brian. Big up to Totspur. Big up to Daddy D. Big up to Scott M. Adam Phillips. Big up to you. Big up to you, Brian. Big up to you, Totsit Hot Shop. Big up to you. Big up to Stelios. Stop One Way. Big up to Ben Salah. Yosif. Big up to Arsenal Degoot. Big up to Asper. Big up to you all. Big up to Sogun. Thank you for your comment, the first comment. Big up to everyone. Brilliant one song. Big up to you all. Joseph Aho. And then big up to you. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to you, Jory. Thank you for joining. Big up to you all. Big up to you all, mate. Big up to you, Mari, from Tottenham Way. Big up to you all. But yep, we're going to be wrapping up the show now. Soon, you'll see more of this. We look forward to the game tomorrow, even though I might not be watching it. I'm not interested, but it'll be interesting to see what the teams do. And yeah, that's it. And I'm off to bed. And as always, as we always finish off the show, and get with it and get into it, and that's it. On another season of disappointment, another season of the same old thing, another season where I'm looking forward to my holiday rather than looking forward to next season, another season where I'm bored of saying the same things. Even though this show, you see a little different side to Mr. Box Office, and that's it. But as always, because I am now waffling, I need to go to bed soon. If you didn't know, get to know. Support your boy, Mr. Box Office. Subscribe and like. And come on, you Spurs. And I'm out.